What's going on, Sooner Nation? So we got some updates on the recruiting trail for the 2025 cycle. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen some of the crystal balls that are flowing in favor of Oklahoma. Some of you guys might have questions about some of the guys that are attending for Junior Day and what was going on last weekend, because Oklahoma, they might be in position to land not one, but two 5-stars on opposite sides of the ball in this class. We got to talk about it. Before we do that, guys, I need to hear from y'all. So make sure you're joining the discussion, jumping down in the comments below, giving me your guys' thoughts. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and you hit that subscribe button. We're on pace to hit 10,000 subscribers. Would love to have you guys come and be a part of it. So, Oklahoma, we got to start off with some good news that came out of last Junior Day. And talking to a couple people on some interesting things that are going on, there was an interesting development that I didn't first off here immediately out of Junior Day, but about midweek, I would say about Tuesday to Wednesday, I got the text, and it was really just about, hey, Jonah Williams, right? The 5-star safety out of Galveston, Texas. This is going to be a guy that Oklahoma, there's some consensus going around, a lot of recruiting experts that he might end up being an Oklahoma Sooner by the end of this. The text that I specifically got was, hey, Jonah Williams, he's taken 3-4 visits to Oklahoma, 3 visits to Texas, couple to Ohio State. He's been repping Oklahoma for a long time. But there's some buzz that they might be ready to pull the trigger, right? And if you're an Oklahoma fan and you see Brandon Hall go out here and land the talent of Jonah Williams, a guy that, yes, he could play linebacker, he could play safety. He is extremely talented and could play either one of those positions. A guy that really you would like to see at the cheetah position, because a lot of people are making comparisons to Isaiah Simmons. You look at Brandon Hall as one of your best recruiters on this staff, because he was in that recruitment for Peyton Bowen. Then not to mention he gets you Jaden Hardy, right? He's gotten you a couple other guys as well. Oklahoma fans should feel really good about where you sit with Jonah Williams. I'm going to wait a little bit to submit up my own prediction for Jonah. I want to get a clarification on a couple things first, but from the sound of it, I mean, we could be pretty close to that, guys. Additionally, I want to talk to you guys about the wide receiving group, because, where we originally were talking about Isaiah Mosey as the last wide receiver Oklahoma and Emmett Jones would take, it seems like Oklahoma has really moved on, right? And if you've watched the show, you guys know that that's not a new take. We've talked about this many times, because Oklahoma is, they're extensively recruiting other wide receivers. And Sam Spiegelman over at On3 got a chance to catch up with Andrew Marsh the other day. And Andrew Marsh had this to say about Oklahoma. He said it was pretty cool seeing Coach Venables, and it let me know I'm a priority for them, someone that they're really after. And I know I'm in a Discord with you, or with some of you guys. If you guys want the link for that, you guys can jump over to Twitter and hit up Jay over at Unfair Sports. It's his Discord. But in a Discord with a lot of you guys, I hear you guys talk about Andrew Marsh a lot and talk about how, listen, this dude's not a want, he's a need for Oklahoma. I believe On3 will have him ranked as a 5-star because they have him as the number 24th overall player. Rivals has him as number 28th, but he's the top 50 player across the country when you look at all of the recruiting services. Maybe we can block out ESPN, because we all know ESPN really is not that great when it comes to recruiting. But he's been to LSU 5 times, Texas 4 times. He's been to Oklahoma 4 times, and this is not a recruitment that, I 100% looked at and said, yeah, Oklahoma's going to win this one. Because, when you look at the teams like the USCs and the Michigans and all of these other schools that are in on Andrew Marsh, it seemed like it was going to be a battle, right? And although Emmett Jones has proven that he's able to get in there and he's able to keep Oklahoma in these recruitments, it's just not 100% guaranteed that this would be a guy that I would say could be in Oklahoma's class. But there are a couple other options, right? And the other 5-star that we had to talk about was Caleb Cunningham. And for a lot of you guys, saw the talk. Caleb Cunningham was here the day after the junior visit, so he was here Sunday. He left a little bit later. He got a chance to hang out with some others. So listen, I'm going to say this, talking to some people over at some other sites and talking to some people in the Discord, talking to some people, actually some recruits that were on campus that got to be around Caleb Cunningham. Seemed like Oklahoma and Emmett Jones really made an impression. And I won't be honest, I saw he was coming, and I said, I don't think Oklahoma's going to land this kid. It just doesn't seem likely. It seems like this would be a Mississippi State, Auburn deal. Ole Miss kind of looming around in there, but the rumor around the mill is Ole Miss ain't really that big of a factor. So you look at it and you say, Emmett Jones is putting in work. And, I mean, there was a point in time where we were seriously considering Terry Bussey, right, in this class, 2024. So if he can do that, I mean, maybe he could pull out something out of his hat. Caleb did knock his list of schools down to 12. Oklahoma was included in that. I'm going to be honest. You got to get this kid on for an official visit to really, I think, look at yourself as a heavy contender. But if you're an Oklahoma fan, you feel good about that news. You feel good about it. Additionally, you got like Emmanuel Choice. He was on campus. Cooper Perry, who's actually going to be on campus this week. And then I said Isaiah Mosey, but I'm really not looking at Isaiah Mosey as a take for Oklahoma anymore. It feels like some of those Lee Summit kids will end up going Missouri, or if they're just talented enough like Mosey, they might go to a more national brand, right, outside of Oklahoma. Then I look at the tight end position because Nate Roberts was on campus before the big junior day weekend. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, you feel good about that because you got him on campus again. And this is one where it kind of felt like maybe Nate Roberts was slipping away because you've seen all the crystal balls flow in for Ohio State. And, you've heard about the family in Ohio State. And, I mean, at the end of the day, right, I mean, if you and I are being honest here, it feels like it would be one of those situations where it's going to be a national signing day deal, even if he commits somewhere before then, just because he's in Washington, Oklahoma. His brother plays here. So it feels like it's hard for Oklahoma to lose this battle. And they've got other tight ends they could look at. I mean, I told you guys how high I am on Chase Lofton. You've also got Deshaun Brame, who is crystal balled for Oregon. Dan Lanning putting in some work there in Derby, Kansas. And then you've got Lincoln Cure, who is projected to land at Kansas State. That's an option. I really like Chase Lofton, though. I think he has a lot of talent. I know a lot of people, I've seen you guys on social media talking about Lincoln Cure. Not too familiar with that one, but shoot, borderline 5-star. I think Oklahoma would 100% take that. So interesting to see where this tight end spot's going to go. So Nate Roberts, on campus, had a good visit, sporting the SEC logo. Question is Oklahoma going to be able to beat Ohio State? That's the real big question. Now, before we get into the junior day visitors that will be here this weekend, or at least talking about a couple of them, I do want to go over a couple crystal balls that were dropped by Colin Kennedy and just talk about where Oklahoma potentially stands with those guys, right? So Max Granville was the first one, and you guys have seen the on-3 predictions from Sam Spiegelman and Josh McCuistion a little bit earlier. Colin Kennedy just submitted his this weekend. Max Granville looks like one of those guys that, he is a dog, and he is a guy that you get him on that line with Miguel Chavis, right? Max Granville is going to be eaten in that backfield for Oklahoma. You saw Kobe Sellers get a prediction from Colin Kennedy. He has one from Josh McCuistion over at On3, and then I've also put one in as well back from November. So Kobe Sellers, you feel really, really good about where Oklahoma sits with him just because you saw he was hanging out with a lot of guys that Oklahoma's heavily leaning on. You've seen Kobe Sellers talk really positively about Oklahoma anytime someone asks about him. He's been on campus numerous times, right? And if you follow those unofficial visits, it really seems like Oklahoma's going to close. And I would bet we see something done with Kobe Sellers before the summer. Additionally, you saw Colin Kennedy submit one for Torrey Blaylock, and there's been other predictions submitted across the industry for him. After talking with a couple sources, I put one in too the day after junior day. So Torrey Blaylock might be your sole running back scholarship offer in this class. And this is where we'll bleed into the junior day list because you've got Caden Knighten coming on campus. He's a top 250 player in the country, according to 247 Sports. He's a 4-star, was committed to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt moved on from the running back coach, so you saw him decommit there. He's going to be visiting Oklahoma. Still does not have an offer. And I really wonder if Oklahoma throws the offer out to him. And it's not because he's not talented, but it feels like you've got a commitment from Tory Blaylock. And I feel like if you give Caden Knighten the offer, that's a scholarship offer, that's going to be an immediate commitment, right? I feel like Caden Knighten's going to jump on that. And maybe you offer him a preferred walk-on where, hey, like, we're going to give you a little bit of money. School's going to be paid for. You don't have to waste a scholarship on an in-state guy. I mean, he'll consider that, right? A lot of kids in state will consider those kind of offers, especially to come play for a program like Oklahoma. You almost have to wonder, though, if Caden looks at the depth chart at that point and says, well, you guys got Tory Blaylock coming in, plus some guys that are returning. And although, yes, Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes might be on their way out to the NFL, that running back room is still really loaded. So, and then you got 2026 where you got Justin Hatton and Letch Bay. So, we're going to have to follow the Caden Knighten thing as it goes throughout this weekend, see if he ends up getting the offer and reevaluate from there. Maybe DeMarco Murray surprises everybody and takes 2 scholarship running backs and gives Caden Knighten that offer, right? Maybe that happens. And if he does, I'm going to be excited. You all are going to be excited because I've seen you guys talk about it. It's just going to be interesting because last week, you also had Demarius Robinson on campus, a talented kid out of Edmond Santa Fe. I definitely think he's going to end up in the recruiting rankings as a 3 or a 4-star as well. So that's one to watch. That one, though, I do believe will be a little bit more of a PWO offer. And I know he will be considering that if that ends up coming through. So that's one for Oklahoma to watch. And then additionally, you got a guy like Cooper Perry coming on campus this weekend. So it's going to be kind of cool to see, hey, like, is Oklahoma going to be able to get in that? Is Oklahoma going to be able to get in that recruitment? Obviously, you expect that you're going to have Kevin Sperry on campus. It seems like he's been really involved in recruiting some of these 2025 guys, getting this class to be really strong. You got Elijah Barnes, Dawson Merritt, Marcus Wimberly. You've even got a 2026 4-star in Jalen Lott. I think the next big junior day, though, that you're going to see is March 9th. I think this week is going to be pretty small, pretty intentional with some of the guys that are going to be on campus. March 9th, you've already got a list of dudes that are going to be there. 4-star defensive lineman Trenton Wilson, who got the offer from Oklahoma, immediately developed a relationship with Todd Bates. It seems like Oklahoma is progressing there. And then you had 3-star defensive lineman Xavier Ukponu, who last week was at Texas, right? And this is a guy that played at Denton Guyer with Jackson Arnold, Eli Bowen, and Peyton Bowen. And it's one that if you're Oklahoma and a not super strong defensive line class, I feel like you would like to have, especially if you miss on another high 4-star priority target, right? You're going to have Garrison Utley on campus. You'll have safety Jordan Davis, offensive lineman Felix Ojo. So, and that list is going to continue to grow as we get through the month of February and the first couple of days of March, right? So that's going to be one that we can continue to touch on. We'll continue to keep you updated there. But March 9th is going to be the Future Freaks. That's what they're going to call it. I think last year they did something similar and it did Sooners Under the Stars the next day. So I'll be curious to see what 2026 guys end up on campus for Future Freaks, and then what 2025 guys show up as well. You know, if you get a guy like Jonah Williams or a Kobe Sellers or somebody like that to show up for that visit, I think you'd feel pretty good at this point about Oklahoma closing on those guys. So, and let's see if we get Andrew Marsh on campus. Again, that's the wide receiver target a lot of you guys have talked about. A lot of you guys absolutely want here at Oklahoma. So that's one we'll just have to keep our eyes on. But guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe button, join the discussion down and below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are about some of these prospects. You know, do you think Oklahoma can land Jonah Williams? I know we didn't touch much about the offensive line. I've been following up with Michael Fasusi talking about a couple things, so we'll have an update there in the next video. The offensive line, I think, is definitely still in a really good position for Oklahoma. It's going to be one of those wait and see type of things. That'll probably be one of the last rooms to get solidified because offensive linemen, they're a big need across the country. And I think you're going to see a lot of teams really throw out offers because, if you're looking to pay NIL, offensive linemen are going to get that NIL money. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button, join the discussion below.